I would like to present, or we would like to present, a current research project we have at AIFB that's about, we're using Semantic MediaWiki to create a virtual research environment for researchers in the field of history of education. So I will give us an overview about what they are doing and how we're using Semantic MediaWiki, some extension we created where we think this could be useful in many other applications as well. And I'll highlight some challenges we encountered in using Semantic MediaWiki. So to make it short, the title is SMW Cora. This is short for Semantic MediaWiki for Collaborative Corpora Analysis. To give you an idea about what the researchers are doing, they are working on historical lexica, and their research work is based on this historical lexica. They are not available as pure text. They're available as scanned in documents like you can see here, and probably cannot read much here. So we imported now 25 of these lexica. That means we have about 22,000 articles, and the researchers perform what they usually do. They perform some qualitative analysis, and we support this by allowing them to annotate parts of these pictures. And in a nutshell, we have a digital library called BBF about historical lexica. From there, we import these documents via the Open Archive Initiative interface. This is work that is done by Leah. She's also here if you have questions. And so we created a representation of this digital archive within our wiki, what you see here. And we also import the metadata. So here you have about the articles information like title, author, and so on. And the title is then a person. And within our virtual research environment, we allow our researchers to annotate parts of these images. Like you can see here, you might specify that this part is about a certain person, and you create an entity, a page for that person. So this person is represented using a wiki page and can have properties or affiliations and institutions, and these entities that the researchers create can also be related to each other. So what the researchers then do is they base their analysis based on these elements that are created on top of that data and not on the data itself. And so, and there's also a taxonomy in the background that they use to categorize articles. Yeah. And there's another relation. We use the semantic web browser that Benedict created, so he also contributed to the project. If, for example, a person page has a property equivalent URI, that means this resource is also available somewhere else in the semantic web. We can link to this entity in that way, and we can present which facts are available about that entity elsewhere. So, for example, here in the German National Library, a person that is an author of an article in the historical lexica can have a page there with RDF data, and this person might have a date of birth. And so later we think about integrating this data automatically. You click on a value you have there, and you just import it into the wiki. So here we show there's a relation between the external database we import from, and we can also relate this to external data anywhere in the semantic web and create a fuller picture. And there are a lot of capacities for research for these researchers of history of education. So there's the data integration step where we import all this lexica and can later import more lexica on demand. They add new entities like person, affiliations, or concepts and institutions. Then they can browse, read, and categorize using the taxonomy they have there. And they can also rearrange that taxonomy. So typically a project would start with an existing taxonomy, but during the research this taxonomy might change. And this is an issue I will talk about later, since this causes some problem, since the taxonomy itself might be subject to research. So it might change while they use it. And then they can perform their analysis and check the data. And in the end, they might come up with some text where they write about their research. And this all should be supported. This whole life cycle should be supported by our virtual research environment. Now I hand over to Felix, who created the semantic image annotator we're using here.
Okay, thank you. From this project, there arose the need to I'm sorry, wrong direction. To basically here to annotate images which have been uploaded to the wiki, because we have these scanned documents which no OCR can be performed upon, and that is why we have created an extension which we call the Semantic Image Annotator. And as I said, it was initiated by the Corpora project, and we have just put it on the MediaWiki extension on the MediaWiki extension site, so we want to see if it may be useful to other people as well. Yeah, it is used to annotate scanned documents at the moment, but you can use it to annotate any image that has been uploaded to the wiki. And you can save properties for those annotations, which means you can then query for those annotations and display them on any wiki page. Yeah, we have released them as an SMW extension, of course, and this is basically how it looks like. On the file page, you will get this button, annotate this image, and when you click on it, then you can draw, at the moment, rectangular shapes, but we want to add other forms maybe as well. You can draw rectangular shapes, and if you're happy with that, a semantic form will pop up, which you can, of course, define yourself, and you can use that to fill a template and, of course, store properties as well. And then you can, on any wiki page, do an ask query and use the format image annotation, which is a result printer that is part of the extension. And then the result will look like this. So you will get the image displayed on your wiki page, and you will get, of course, the annotations that are returned highlighted. And then you can click on them, and it will open up these windows which you can drag around. Yeah, that's basically the functionality so far. As I said, it requires semantic forms because it is heavily tied in with that, which allows you to customize the annotation form that you want to have. Yeah, you add, edit, and delete the annotations in the file namespace, and the annotations themselves are stored in a custom namespace, which means that each of these shapes gets one particular page on which you can store additional properties, which means you can also query for a subset of annotations on one particular image. Yes, and querying, I have displayed that already. The extension provides a result printer, which you can use to query for those annotations. At the moment, we only have one parameter, which is called width, with which you can specify how broad the image will be displayed, but we are planning to add more features. For example, one thing that I will add in the near future is that you can choose to only display the part of the image that you have actually annotated and not the whole image as well. Yes, the annotations are clickable. That means you can click on them, and then you will actually get a rendered page within a draggable window of the annotation page. We would be very happy if someone would try it out and give us feedback, because at the moment we only use it in the project that Basil told you about, and yeah, so we're looking for feedback. The extension is available actually already. Yeah, it should be relatively stable, but of course we're looking for feedback. It'd be very, very nice if any one of you would like to try it out. Okay, thanks, Basil. We'll continue to talk about the project.
Okay, so now about 3 challenges that we encountered here. First of all, we experienced that there's a need for multilinguality, but not in the usual case of internationalization, that you want to have the user interface in various languages, but also that users want to create annotations and create queries in their own language. That means they might use a German property or an English property or French property. They might use a category in various languages, and even even property values in various languages. And so this causes some problems, and we do not yet know how to solve this. We can imagine to use redirects for some things, or subcategories where the different language categories are subcategories of one category, like the English category. The same with subproperties for properties. But it's still not clear how this would work and if this would still be usable in any way. So in the end, we would like to be able to perform a query where we say nationality French, and this should be equal to Nationalität Französisch, both when performing the when creating the annotation, and within a query this should work as well. So if you have any insight if this is possible, or if this is an obstacle that is not solvable with the current data structure or something, I'll be happy if you talk to me about this. This is the first thing. The second thing is about the adjustment of annotations. As I said before, there is this taxonomy the researchers are applying, but during the research it can turn out that the taxonomy needs to be rearranged or renamed or extended in some way. So, for example, when categorizing articles, what happens when we change the name of the category? So if a set of articles belong to category X and we rename the category to X dash, will the instances follow to the new category? We did not find any extension that does this directly. Maybe this can be done with text replace, but this is still unsure. So we wonder if there's any extension that can actually do this. And the third thing is that we would like to have some controlled RDF export. Maybe this is a feature request. So for some properties we have in the wiki, we do not want that they appear in the RDF export, or at some phase the researchers will decide, okay, the content that we created now is now mature enough that we want to export it in RDF. And there are some properties, for example, related to task management, and they should not be exported. But the export functionality is crucial for us, since we want to allow that the work that is done may also be exported from the virtual research environment and be reused in another environment. So we need some feature like maybe a special property exclude from RDF export or something. Or is this already?
There is already a format for getting ask results exported as RDF.
Mm.
I don't quite recall what it does, but maybe it does exactly give you these things that you query for in RDF and nothing else. And with this you could, for example, using the API, could easily access query-based RDF outputs of whatever you query for.
Okay, that would be one solution, but still it's maybe difficult to create that query, since we do not know which properties are actually used for all these entities, and they also all need to be contained in the query. Yeah. But if we know that which properties are actually used, we might create that query, or this is an intermediate solution. But interesting to think about this. Yeah. So the challenges on the last slide, where you might give comments maybe. So we have the multilinguality problem, we have the adjustment of annotation that causes problems, and the controlled RDF export. So now I'm at the end of my talk, and I forgot to mention there's also Christoph Schindler, who I forgot to mention at the beginning, is also working in this project. Yeah. Sorry for that. Okay, so I'm happy to take questions.
Do you have also foreseen a way for controlled RDF import to integrate annotations done by other programs? That would be also great, and a major challenge I see.
So the question was, if I understood you correctly, if we also want to include RDF export for annotations or that other programs created, yeah. But like which programs you mean? Okay, like. Whether we can import. Okay. At the moment we have the one import solution to import the lexica, but I mean we did not develop import solutions for the kinds of data you were talking about, but this is due to the fact that we do not know that any data is available outside that we need in our virtual research environment. But it's if you have an idea about the data, I think it should be integratable. And there's another thing we discussed over lunch. I mean, there's this semantic result formats extension, but what about semantic import formats extension? Like which kind of, like to have one single point to import various kinds of CSV import is already there, but maybe it would be nice to have one single extension to do this and to bundle the work in this area.
The problem with the import is often when you want to do it over the web, that you basically have to upload a file and then do something there, and much of the stuff that you want to import is too big for this kind of process, and so you would need to use a script to do it anyway. It could be all in one extension, like a semantic import format, just that we first would need to figure out how this should actually look like even. Because we had a number of import scripts. I mean, actually, you've written some of them yourself. And the question is a website better where you can just upload stuff, which could be great for if you have just a vcard file or iCal file or whatever, which are usually small. But what do you do with an RDF import from another wiki, for example, which might have 100 million triples or something like that?
Okay, so the one idea to that problem is one extension that I developed once was a solution to send ask queries to Freebase, and there you would write the query and you would specify which data actually to import. And this could also be realized maybe for a CSV file where you specify which lines or whatever of this and which columns to import. So if this semantic import is bundled with ask, this could be one solution to do this import. But further questions?
Yeah, so my question is, we have seen a way of annotating maps with polygons today, and now we see a way of annotating images with rectangles, and somehow there seem to be similarities, but then in the details you say for every rectangle you have an extra page, whereas in maps the approach is very different. So do you see chances of reconciling these various approaches?
Of course, when I listened to that particular talk, I was asking myself that same question. Well, maybe there is some opportunity to integrate them together. I've thought a bit about it, but the problem is that for a map is like something dynamic, and you use the coordinates of actual coordinates, and as with the extension that I developed, you basically use the upper left corner of an image as your origin, and then you have the coordinate space and something like this.
The maps had support for using static images instead of maps.
Okay.
True, but if we have a polygon data type, for example, that might be useful in both directions. I mean, where to fit here.
How exactly is that polygon stored? Just as a set of coordinates, basically, right? For each point, and then you draw the lines.
Like currently there are 0 coordinates. Maybe we have to take that.
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
There is an extension where there is a gadget in there is a gadget in Wikimedia Commons. It's a gadget image annotator, annotator something like this. I don't know if you knew it. No, take a look. Yeah, because I think you can get a lot of ideas, especially for the interface. Because I use in a wiki this image annotator, but the what I miss is I could not link to properties and all this. And I think with that code you help a lot.
Okay, thanks for the pointer. I honestly I did not know that. I will definitely have a look, of course. Yeah, maybe there are some ideas that I can steal.